discussions that educate, inform, and engage business owners and decision makers like you. These are forums of discussion where relevant subjects are introduced to provide an additional boost to one's business. Just 1 hour a month to get inspired and get going. We would like to thank our corporate partners DO and RAC Bank, our strategic alliance partners Dubai SME, Bank of Baroda, and the support extended by Shaykhan, Potential, and the leading business councils of India, Australia, South Africa, and Iran, as well as Dubai Business Women Council, International Business Women's Group, and Heels and Deals. We also thank Business Village, our hospitality partners, for giving us excellent facilities. Today's seminar, Emotional Intelligence, Hiring and Firing at Will, is all about hiring the right candidate for your small business who can combine intellectual and creative capability with emotional intelligence. So I'm delighted to introduce our speaker, Mr. John Lincoln, Vice President Enterprise Marketing at DO. Mr. Lincoln is an experienced marketeer for the past 20 years with a niche in telecommunications in US, Japan, Europe, India, Dubai, Malaysia, Latin America, and various other countries. He has extensive expertise in international telecommunication sales, marketing, business development, and customer service delivery. Mr. Lincoln also has experience in general management, marketing, P&L, product development, and revenue management responsibilities in both consumer and enterprise segments for both fixed and mobile sectors. Mr. Lincoln has an impressive operational and management portfolio of established proven expertise, incremental business value creation, and management of large multinational teams in Vodafone Global in UK, Japan Telecom in Tokyo, AirTouch and Pacific Bell, now A&T in San Francisco and Tokyo, Airtel in Delhi, and other telecom and technological companies, and operational project experience across the US, Europe, Asia, Latin America, and various other countries. Mr. Lincoln has an MBA and MS in telecommunications from Golden Gate University in San Francisco, California, USA. So please put your hands together for a very warm welcome to Mr. John Lincoln.
Once again, thanks, and I know that you're probably expecting something that's going to be very much more dramatic than the title sounds. But one of the reasons why I thought that I should talk about this topic is, as you often hear, people are the most important assets in any organization, and most people just say it in passing rather than truly meaning about it, really thinking about it. And I can't quote the source of this research, but this research made that really shows that about 20 to 30% of the people really make a difference in most companies. So if you don't mind, just think through, this week or last week, if you as business owners or managers running businesses, have you ever wondered about losing somebody in your company? And have you ever wondered what will happen to the state of your business if that particular person, if he or she leaves the company? So just think about it for a while, what that really means. If you really think that somebody is, of course, we all know that nobody is truly indispensable, but some people matter more than others. And based on my experience, I've actually seen the real people driving incremental value creation in any company are the 20-30% of the people who has very high emotional intelligence. Because emotional intelligence is really critical in order to deal with daily business issues in your daily life as well. But I'm not an expert on on someone's personal life, but in business, I've seen this over the years. And one caveat: I'm not an expert in sociology, nor am I an expert in psychology, no HR. I'm not an HR person. As you can see, I'm a marketer. I'm a commercial person. But I have had the opportunity to hire hundreds of people during my time, and I've seen the ones that make the difference. So I decided to write about this because this is something that's often understated especially when people talk about small businesses. And I'm just going to talk about why is it important and what it is and how do you identify candidates with high emotional intelligence. This is a term that I coined myself. Just keep in mind, you need to hire epic candidates, epic, folks who are epical to drive epical companies. It's a very important term, so I'll talk about it in a few minutes, so just bear with me. Most of us do hiring, most people, it's a very standard practice. What you look for, let's say if you're hiring a marketing guy, you just want to make sure the person has relevant experience in the industry, they have done something, they have basically maybe a baseline degree to go along with it, or he or she has practical and creative intelligence, or, the person is a team player and stuff like that. This is normal stuff that everybody does, so I don't have to tell you about that, because we all do that. That's a normal process in what everyone goes through, and which is what most people do too. And especially small and medium business owners, if you think about it, they're so busy in their businesses, and they just look whether the person has got a very high level requirements, and then they leave to somebody else to hire. But most people miss the important part of the emotional intelligence side that I'm referring to here. And I will talk about it in a few minutes. So what is, I call this, when somebody comes and says they're shortlisted a candidate, I always ask them, is that an epic candidate? Is that an epic? Epic means it has to be an emotionally and practically intelligent candidate for me. There are terminologies that I use in HR, emotional quotient and practical quotient, like what's IQ, EQ and PQ, people talk about it. But I just, let's hold that. We're not here to do some sophisticated math to find the, the level of EQ or PQ someone has. We're here to, we are talking about practical stuff. So that's what we are saying. Why is this very important? Think about it. Just think back to yourself. Take a step back. Just give me a minute. And just think. What were the disagreements that you had the last week or the last month or even today with folks that you are doing business with? Think about it. Is it about a strategy, or is it about a tactic, or is it about something else? Most of the disagreements that folks have is because of the emotions that come with it. It's nothing else. If you really think about it, of course we occasionally have real disagreements and a different point of view on a different strategy or tactic. But in this particular, in majority of the cases, it's about the emotion itself. So think about, and it is that emotions that affect the relationship among people. And people truly matter. As you know, businesses are not driven, of course, if you're fortunate enough to work for a monopoly, or if you're fortunate to work in a company that has a huge franchise or a huge fixed asset, the people aspect are still important, but maybe not as important as like small and medium businesses, because they make the difference. So imagine conflicts and disagreements with people actually disrupt the regular running of your business. So it is very important that people that you hire have high emotional intelligence. So what is it actually, see, basically what emotional intelligence is saying, and how you can perceive a situation or a person, you can control that situation, and you can actually evaluate how you're going to address it. And I'll elaborate a little bit more, but that's the basic gist of what emotional intelligence is. So you have to be able to perceive, to see and understand what is happening. You have to be able to control it, because different situations you have to control it, and you have to evaluate the different situations. So, so the way you think, and how do you really internalize what emotional intelligence is? So, most businesses operate in a very chaotic whitewater environment. Things keep changing. The pricing from your suppliers change. One of your key employees decides to leave. Bank refuses your overdraft or your loan. You can have multiple different issues that are thrown at you every day. So emotional intelligence really matters to small and medium businesses, because they really make the difference as to whether you're going to survive or not. So the way I think about emotional intelligence for me is that, and it's actually not my term, it's coined by somebody else, but I thought it's the best way to describe emotional intelligence. Imagine you're trying to recall, music, just the lyrics, and you're trying to recall it. You cannot recall it without the music in the lyrics. So it's just very dry and there's nothing, That's what emotional intelligence is. So the way it's written it's like an orchestra or band playing music to the lyric. A lyric unto itself is boring without the music. You would never recall a lyric without the right recall of music. So just think about that. That's what emotional. So a guy comes, a candidate comes and speaks to you. You interview the person. It's got all the requisite skills that you need, but that person really cannot you cannot maneuver and drive value for your business. So this is one way to think about it. Or maybe a picture, a great painting that's drawn, and or a house with no furniture, and nobody in it, no life. You can't make a difference. You can't live in it. That's the way you think about emotional intelligence. And many people mistake that emotional intelligence means you cannot be angry. You should have the right temperament. You should always be positive. That is absolutely not true, because it has to be very situational. As the great philosopher Aristotle said, anyone can become angry. That's easy. But to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right person, in the right way, that is an art. That is not easy. That is what emotional intelligence is. To be angry at the right person, because you can't always be the Mr. Nice. You never get things done. And I actually experienced it today with one of my team members, and she's a wonderful person and very friendly, but the project was not moving. A certain project was not moving, and you have to be able to drive things, to make things happen. So keep in mind, you're looking for practically intelligent people. You're looking for emotionally and practically intelligent candidate, as I mentioned earlier. You have to be able you have to get someone, not necessarily the person is a wonderfully nice person. That's not what you're looking for. Just keep that in mind for now. So how do you identify emotional intelligence? The first one is you need to get people. You don't need somebody, just daydreaming, pie in the sky stuff. I'm going to do this. Or somebody who's always very pessimistic and doesn't want to do things. You need a folk who's practical. One of the key ingredients of emotional intelligence is somebody who can be very, very practical, who can make things, can see the reality of the situation. That is a very fundamental requirement to know whether a person has emotional intelligence. So for example, if somebody comes and tells you, this whole darn thing in this office is bad and I can't do it. Look, you left your old job, so that you can have multiple examples, but take the person internalizing this. You left your old job, you need, employment is necessary for most people to survive in this world. You try and make the best out of it and try and make it happen. Or the other part of the example that I would use is that, somebody dreaming up stuff that's never going to happen. Or somebody's always giving all the excuses why things cannot be done rather than looking a way around it. You can't change all the situations in life and the situations that will render to you, but you can make the best of it. That's the type of candidate that you need. That's what it means by being practical. The other one is being assertive. You don't want S people all the time around you. You need people who can state their point of view in a very positive way. It doesn't mean that you have to be a bully or you don't want somebody who's very is very weak, like a weakling, who doesn't have an opinion and doesn't want to say anything because he's scared of it. You need somebody who's very assertive. So think about when you're hiring a candidate, For example, what I do, I purposely give a wrong fact. A fact that is wrong to see how an obvious fact that is wrong, just to see how this person will correct me and, state his or her own facts, Or I will just, when we talk about practicality, I'll talk about business plan numbers that are very unrealistic, and I want a person to challenge me or think about it. Ask me, is it real? Stuff like that. You have to apply it in daily life. Think about how you're going to question the candidates on these attributes. Then you do not need somebody who does things at a whim. You need somebody who's very deliberate. It has to be very deliberate. Of course, business moves at the speed of light. Most businesses do, especially small businesses, because you have a lot more to lose if things don't work. But you need people who are very deliberate. It is a real deliberate answer. It might seem whimsical, but it's not. You need to know. I always tell my folks, and some folks are here, we work together, I always say,